In the NFL, disaster is always lurking.
Age isn't necessarily a factor for Mahomes, but here's a list of other key players 30 or older on this Chiefs roster.
When disaster hits, it can impact an organization for years. So, let's take a look at 10 NFL teams that are at different stages of a downfall, but are all still heading towards disaster. Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have been the best team in the AFC, if not the NFL, over the past dozen years. But then, in 2025, we got a glimpse of the future. Star quarterback Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and LCL. Mahomes is scheduled to return to the field in 2026, but, come on. There's no telling how effective he'll actually be coming off a major injury. And we all saw how ineffective the Chiefs' offense was without him last year. In addition, tight end Travis Kelce, who has been one of the best in the game, is finally starting to show his age. The wear and tear of playing in the NFL for 13 years and possibly enjoying the famous musician life a little too much. Come on, let's blame Taylor a little bit for the Chiefs' downfall here. It just might all be starting to catch up to him. Kansas City did add running back Kenneth Walker III in free agency to unburden Mahomes, so that should help matters in the short term. But unless the Chiefs really start looking at their post-Mahomes-Kelce future and address those underlying problems, well, hard times are certainly coming to KC. Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins spent an entire season tanking for Tua and then selecting the quarterback 5th overall in the 2020 draft. Tua Tagovailoa was viewed as the savior of the franchise. Unfortunately, he was not. In fact, Miami released Tua this offseason, enduring a record-breaking $99.2 million hit against the salary cap just to part ways with the quarterback. The salary cap issue is not the Fins' only problem. The team also cleaned house in the front office, entering the 2026 season with a new general manager and new head coach. The Dolphins also have a myriad of issues on the field, such as a complete lack of skill at the receiving core, a porous offensive line, a defense that also lacks skill, and just generally poor roster depth. They're built around star running back Devon Achane and literally nothing else. Sadly, this poorly assembled roster will have one of the toughest schedules next season. Things are very dark in South Beach. It remains to be seen whether or not this regime can turn things around, but the organization's history suggests that it's going to be more of the same in Miami. New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints are a team that is desperately in need of an overhaul. The only problem is that they're the only ones who don't seem to know that. They've had 3 losing seasons in the last 5 years. Considering that they haven't had a long-term coach since Sean Payton left in 2021, and they've just had a coaching carousel, I think it's fair to ask if current coach Kellen Moore is going to be around for much longer. The bigger issue really lies in the locker room, though. The Saints have some very talented players, but the long-term cohesiveness has some serious questions. For the last 8 seasons, running back Alvin Kamara has been the team's leading rusher. He was its leading receiver in 2020 as well, but the man's begun to show the signs of wear and tear. This offseason, New Orleans brought in Travis Etienne Jr. to lighten Kamara's load. Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson provide young threats at wide receiver, but will 26-year-old second-year quarterback Tyler Shuck be able to get them the ball? The overriding issue for the Saints is age. The running backs are leaving their prime, the receivers are young or entering their prime, and the QB is 26 and a big question. Honestly, there is just far too much here to expect them to properly come together once and for all. Indianapolis Colts. Things are not looking up in Indianapolis. Daniel Jones was lost in the 2025 season to a torn Achilles, and while he might return in 2026, it's fair to question how effective he'll actually be. The team fell apart after his injury, so if he's not 100%, who's going to be the quarterback? The Colts have seemed to have lost all faith in Anthony Richards, the former first-round draft pick, and last season were forced to bring in a retired 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. Yeah, I think that says all you need to know about the Colts quarterback situation. Running back Jonathan Taylor is a stud in the backfield, but he's had an injury history himself. Defensively, Indy is not good either. In 2025, they're ranked 21st in the NFL, and while they imported some talent in the offseason, there is still plenty of questions there. So, if things shake out right, Indianapolis might make the playoffs in 2026. But this list is about teams heading for disasters. And, well, one's a-coming to the Colts. Arizona Cardinals. Since their return to the desert, the Cards have made the playoffs playoffs in only 6 out of 38 years. That run of ineptitude will continue for a while longer as they embark on yet another rebuild. The Cards decided to part ways with former first-round pick quarterback Kyler Murray. Much like another team on our list, Arizona decided that it was better to release their quarterback and endure a salary cap hit of $54.7 million. Not only does that leave salary cap issues, but Brissett is currently threatening a holdout. Wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., T.E. Trey McBride, and Jeremiah Love have talent, but considering that no one might be able to get them the ball, that's just not going to be enough. This organization is a complete disaster. Buffalo Bills. The Bills have been one of the best teams in the NFL over the last decade. They have dominated the AFC East, winning the Division 5 out of the last 6 years. But they haven't made it to a Super Bowl, and well, their time is running out. For the better part of the last 10 years, it seemed like the Bills never tasted postseason glory because, well, the Chiefs stood in their way. Yet, in the 2025 season, things were a little different, especially after Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL and LCL and was lost for the season. This felt like the year, until it wasn't. The season ended with an overtime loss to the Broncos in the divisional round. After last season, it's fair to say that the Broncos and Patriots have finally arrived, which makes the Bills a win-now team. Sorry, Western New York, but if the Bills don't win within the next 2 years, things are going to get very rough in Buffalo. Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans have been rebuilding for the past few years. It looks like the rebuild is going to last, a few more and then some. You see, they have finished the last 2 seasons with identical 3-14 records. It remains to be seen whether or not second-year quarterback Cam Ward is the answer under center, but he did show promise in 2025 with 3,169 yards and 15 touchdowns. Fortunately for the Titans, the team has so many other issues that quarterback isn't one, at least for now. Tennessee was in need of a complete roster overhaul. New wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson provides a nice steady option, but the combination of him and Ridley will remind no one of Rice Owens or Carter Moss. Oh well, at least there's lots of other things to do in Nashville until the Titans are relevant again. Just hang tight. Philadelphia Eagles. Since 2017, the Eagles have made the playoffs in all but 1 year, with 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 championships in that span. One remarkable accomplishment over that time period is their ability to retool while still being competitive. After missing the playoffs in 2020, Philadelphia decided to part ways with head coach Doug Peterson and move on from quarterback Carson Wentz. The decision to turn to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts respectively turned out to be a great move for the organization. As Philly begins to turn over their roster again, will they have that same success? Hurts is going to turn 28 before the season, and while he's still one of the best in the league, he's had a lot of wear and tear over the years, and my man is expensive. His deal runs through 2028 with an average salary of about $51 million. When he hits free agency, with his resume, he's going to be able to ask for the moon. This offseason, A.J. Brown's situation hovers over the organization, as he's expected to be traded in June, but things could change. Still, that is a lot for a team to try and navigate as it attempts to be competitive and retool at the same time. The Eagles got lucky once, but I don't think it's going to happen twice. Minnesota Vikings. Depending on who's under center in 2026, the Vikings will either be on their 3rd or 4th different starting quarterback in the last 4 years. Right now, it is a battle between the incumbent J.J. McCarthy and newly acquired Kyler Murray, the QB who the Cardinals released and decided to absorb a $54.7 million cap hit for him to play elsewhere. The Vikings better hope one of them is the long-term answer, and well, I don't believe either of them are, because if not, the teardown will begin. Age is another factor for this team, especially if neither quarterback works out. Their starting running back, tight end, and top 3 wide receivers are all at, beyond, or reaching their prime years. In the 2026 season, RB Aaron Jones will turn 32, TJ Hawkinson will be 29, and WR's Justin Jefferson will be 27, Jawan Jennings 29. Well, they're all heading towards the second half of their careers. Only Jordan Addison, at the ripe age of 24, provides any long-term security. The Vikings will be competitive for, maybe the next couple of years, but after that, they're going to be tearing it all down and rebuilding rather than celebrating a championship. Dallas Cowboys. As he begins to enter his 11th NFL season, quarterback Dak Prescott will be 33 and has dealt with injury issues throughout his career. He signed through 2028 and also one of the highest paid players in the league. Like the Eagles earlier, Dallas will have a decision to make with a legendary, aging, expensive free agent quarterback. They have also given a large extension to CeeDee Lamb. So bottom line here is that the Cowboys, who are already facing salary cap limitations, are heading towards a salary cap that will severely limit their ability to make transactions. Instability in other parts of the roster will impact the franchise both in 2026 and beyond. Dallas has numerous questions on the defensive side of the ball, and they suffer from porous offensive line play that has put heavy pressure on the quarterback and the running game. But hey, what NFL team do you think is currently heading for disaster? Do you agree with the choices on our list? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.